Okay. Today we're going to talk about dichotomous key and a little bit about scientific common names. Okay, so if you want to maybe call this dichotomous key, it could be your heading. That'd be good. Okay. Before we get into that, though, too much, we're going to talk about common names versus scientific names. Why do we use scientific names? What is the reason for that? Okay. First of all, I would maybe jot these down. Sometimes more than one animal has the same common name. Okay. For example, we might say my example here was iguana. Okay. We could be talking about a bunch of different things, a bunch of different lizard-like things. Okay. But depending on where we're at, we might just say iguana. Okay. If we are right here, Sioux Falls area, and someone says, "Oh, I almost hit a deer." Okay, that deer is a common name. What type of deer are we talking about? Okay, we're probably talking a white-tailed deer. Okay, if we're out in the Black Hills and we talk about, "Oh, I almost hit a deer," you might be talking about a mule deer. Okay, so there are common names depending on where you're at that mean different things. Okay. Another thing, and I'd probably put this down, is common names can be misleading. And for example, starfish. They're not really a type of fish. Prairie dog. They are not anything like dogs. They're kind of a squirrel-like thing. Seahorse. You kind of understand why they named that, but it's not related to a horse in any way. So there are a number of common names that can be kind of misleading. And I would put this down also. Prevents errors in communication between scientists. Prevents errors in communication between scientists. If we use a scientific name, there's just no room for misunderstanding. The cool thing about science is it is universal. Okay? If I'm studying here in South Dakota, if I'm studying something about a white-tailed deer, okay, I could talk to someone in South Carolina about it as well, a scientist down there, okay? And we would know what we were talking about because we'd use the scientific name, okay? So it prevents some errors. And then lastly, it's for organization purposes. Organisms in the same genus are a lot alike. For example, if I'm talking about something whose name is Canis familiaris, well, that's a domesticated dog. Anything Canis is dog, okay? Anything Felis would be cat. Anything Ursus would be bear, okay? If you're in the Ursus genus, you're going to be closely related. Oh, I kind of gave that away already. Okay, so Lepus californicus is the black-tailed jackrabbit. So Lepus europaeus, you'd probably guess, would be some sort of rabbit, brown hair. Lepus americanus, snowshoe hare. So you know Lepus, if you're in the genus Lepus, you're some sort of a rabbit. Ursus horribilis would be the grizzly bear, so Ursus americanus is some sort of bear, a black bear. Okay, so if you're in the same genus, you're going to be very similar. You don't need to write anything here. Scientific names make information about living things easier to obtain and organize. I would like you to write down this and maybe underline the dichotomous key. A dichotomous key uses descriptive statements to identify the name of an organism. A dichotomous key uses descriptive statements to identify the name of an organism. All right, you don't need to write this. Why do we use dichotomous keys? These statements are groups of two dichotomous. Di means two, cotomous means name. I'd like you to write this bullet here. A scientific name is given as a genus and species. So I used this as an example earlier. Canis familiaris. Canis is the genus, familiaris is the species. Okay, and we know that anything in the genus Canis is some sort of dog. So this is a domesticated dog. So a scientific name has two names. The first one is the genus, and it's usually capitalized. The second one is lowercase, and it is the species name. Okay? The same thing with humans, like Homo sapien. Homo would be the genus name. Sapien would be the species name. Okay, so here's a little example of a dichotomous key. We have 4 little supplies there. We have, it looks like a highlighter. We have a blue pen, a pencil, paperclip, I guess 5 things, and a pencil sharpener. Okay, and we're going to, let's just for a second pretend that you don't know what any of those things are. You've never seen a highlighter before, a pencil, any of that stuff. Okay, you don't know what they are. We're going to use a dichotomous key to figure out what they are. Okay, so let's just randomly pick one. Let's pick the blue pen here. Okay, it says the same information outlined in the spider key above, presented in a traditional dichotomous key form, would appear as follows. So we're picking this. I have no idea what this is. We all know it's a blue pen, but let's just play dumb here. Okay, so we start with 1. We always start with 1. Is this a long tubular object or a short non-tubular object? Okay, well, it looks long and tubular to me. Okay, so it says go to 2. Constructed from plastic, constructed from materials other than plastic. I would say this was plastic. Okay, so go to 3. Green and gray, blue and clear. Okay, we're looking at it. It's blue and clear. It's the pen. Okay, so hopefully that kind of makes sense. Okay, you could do this with anything. You could do this with the paperclip. If we pick paperclip, long and tubular, short non-tubular, well, it's short and non-tubular. Go to 4. Black and silver, or silver, well, it's silver, so it would be the paperclip. So we're going to do some practice here with dichotomous keys, and we should be able to identify the animals in our example. We're also going to do some examples with some teachers, middle school teachers, where you're going to create a dichotomous key. You notice that the first step is usually breaks it in half. So it says long tubular or short non-tubular. Well, there's 1, 2, 3 tubular, long tubular, and 2 that are not. So it kind of breaks it in close to half. So if I was going to do a dichotomous key with the class, my first question might be, is a male, is a female? Okay, and that would kind of break the class in close to half, and then I can go from there. Okay? All right.